Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for those kind words of introduction. And since I'm following illustrious speakers, I would like to say on a lighter note that at least I'm the first one to provide some diversity, following two women who have spoke so well. I'm actually, in awe of the people sitting here. All of you are icons and ideals for all of Pakistan. And certainly the words that you've spoken here, they touch a chord for everyone. And I think we all appreciate the contributions and the hard work that you've all put in into ensuring that an ignored part of our society has been recognized as being, probably the driver of the economy, of growth, of society, and have done so much to bring them forward. So I'm not going to have a keynote speech. I'm just here in my capacity as the winner of the award on behalf of Bank Al-Falah. And I'm deeply honored that Bank Al-Falah has been able to achieve this award. And it's not the first time, but this time you've been recognized as the top organization as the most inclusive organization in Pakistan. So, it's a heady title, and really humbled and very fortunate to be able to be in this position. Of course, as you would all know, this is not an achievement that we get to overnight. This is a journey. And the journey started many years ago. And one of my partners in this is sitting behind you, Zafar Saab, Faisal Farooq Khan, who's the group head of HR and learning. And together, over the last now 14 years, we've been working hard to bring our diversity ratio. There are many metrics, but the metric that we're using today, I guess, is how many women do we have in our workforce. It used to be less than 10%. And today we're very happy that it's over 22%. So we've come a long way. But these, obviously, while this reflects progress, it's not enough. And we know that in our 17,000 people across Pakistan, this is an ongoing challenge. And we find that the biggest challenge is because we are spread all over Pakistan. In the smaller cities and the rural areas where we have branches, diversity becomes a real issue and a challenge. And it's easier to do in the larger urban centers. So as we grow our branches, it becomes a greater problem for us. Despite that, we're increasing that metric. I think that's just shows the effort that's going into it. But it's interesting that if you look at the labor survey data of the government of Pakistan, it suggests a different picture. It puts the number of women in the workforce at 25%. But the urban women in the workforce is 13%, which means they must be counting all the women who are working in the agricultural sector as well. Of course, they may not be remunerated properly, but they're still part of the workforce. But that's just reflects perhaps a societal taboo that, or some resistance to bring women into the workforce in urban areas, perhaps because of, religious kind of mindsets or historical, traditional mindsets that we have. So that's something that we have to overcome as well. And as you pointed out rightly, women generally tend to go first towards, in the urban setting perhaps, towards education, health, and other areas. So the corporate sector ends up being lower in the waterfall of preferences for women. So therefore the effort has to be even greater. So how do we do that? In our bank, what we have been very committed to is that the culture of the organization is what attracts good people to come in, whether men or women. And so the culture has to be inclusive. The culture of an organization is not built in a day or two, one or 2 years even. It's a journey, as I said. And in that, we have focused on ensuring that we involve women more. We actually give them more, or we encourage them to take up more responsibilities. And I can tell you very clearly that something that I monitor on a regular basis, how do women branch managers perform relative to men branch managers? And the difference is stark. The women do a much better job, not only in terms of the administrative parts of managing a branch, but also the sales and customer service part of it. So it makes perfect sense from a commercial standpoint for any organization to therefore continue to encourage women to move into positions of responsibility and power. And consequently, we've seen that in the organization, a number of women, as they're given more responsibilities, they, historically we've had this tendency that women come in and then they leave the workforce. But if you give them more responsibility and continuously recognize them, they stay longer. And of course, you've got to make the whole ecosystem and the environment a little bit more easy for them to manage their transition of personal life as well. So as they marry, as they have children, and as they become mothers, you've got to be there to support that transition. And I think that makes them stay much longer. But I think one of the points that was made very aptly was that this responsibility for inclusion doesn't end with your own organization. And as organizations that extend into the communities and into the economy of the country, we take it as our responsibility to do much more. Part of our culture is that we believe in 5 C's, of course our customers, our colleagues, our communities, and our country. So we look at diversity in all of those 4 C's. We're looking at customers, and we bring in more women to come in as customers, and we create the products and services to be able to bring them in and make it easy and smooth for them to become customers of the bank. And then grow as they move into different aspects of their lives. In colleagues, we've already mentioned that we want to be inclusive. We want to bring more women into our organization, certainly, and move them up into positions of power. In the community, I think that's where we've spent a lot of time and effort over the last many years. We've reached out through a lot of our partners, NGOs, who are doing an exceptional job in this country. And so we've selected about 25 to 30 partners through which we actually target accessing women, whether it's for education or for health, or for sports, or just helping them through the times of trouble and calamities like floods. And we also have created products and services that help women entrepreneurs to start businesses and then to finance them to grow further. So these are just some of the ways in which we feel that, you know, the community effort that is our responsibility is also met. And then at the country level, of course, initiatives that are, you know, talked about here and many others. Bank Al-Falah steps up as much as it can through various CSR initiatives, but also other initiatives to support higher education and the development of careers, women careers. And then, as I said, as entrepreneurs become larger, as they grow, we help them grow into medium-sized companies and beyond. So I think that these 4 C's all have elements of diversity and inclusion embedded there, and that's what we're trying to push. And I think in this journey, one of the things that I say, and you know, you mentioned that you love to talk to women and address them and encourage them and incentivize them, inspire them. And I think that's an important part of what we should all be doing. But I often say that that's half of it. The biggest challenge, at least in my experience, has been to talk to the men, to change their mindsets, to accept women as equal and as partners in growth. And so when I have, you know, these GDEIB conversations in the organization, and you know, typically you'd have the whole room full of women, and I said, there's something wrong here. You're already converted. You're already converted as women to the need for institutions like ourselves providing growth opportunities. But where are the men who you work with who have to have that mindset as well? And that shift has actually helped us grow our inclusion numbers significantly. So you know, that's something that I thought that I'd mention. And again, on a lighter note, you mentioned Zabist having all office holders being women, and I was wondering whether some men say that there should be more diversity in Zabist. So with that, you know, thank you very much.